For me, a great tool is durable, made to last and made to be repaired. Last time I showed you how to remove rust from your tools and we pulled apart an old pruning saw, cleaned it up and gave it a sharpen. Now it's as good as new. And this time I'm going to show you how to repair timber handle tools. We get a lot of timber handle tools coming into the repair shop, particularly old ones. Timber's a great resource. It's beautiful to work with, it's easy to repair, and if you look after it, it'll last a long time. But if you don't look after it, or if you overuse them a bit, something like this can happen. So obviously we've got a broken handle on a shovel here, but this head's still good. We can remove the old handle, fix the head up, put a new handle on, and it'll be good to go again. So I'll show you how to do that today. Firstly, I've got to remove the rivets that attach the handle to the head. With a nail punch and hammer, I'm making a little dimple in the rivets, which will help when I'm drilling them out. All right, so now that we've got our dimple in the rivet, I've got a spot for my drill bit to go into so it doesn't wander around. So we've got the head of the rivet off on that one. And because that just comes through onto the handle here, we don't have to bash it out, it'll just come out when we get the head off. But there's another rivet that goes all the way through. So we've got to drill the head off this one, just like we did with the first, and then we're going to punch it all the way through. And we won't forget our safety goggles. And now it can get a bit loud, so I'm going to put some ear protection on. Simple as that. Now we just need to get the handle off. All right, so that was pretty easy. This one can go to the fire pile, and this one we'll put in a vinegar bath to get all the rust off. And you'll find tips for cleaning up your old tools on the Gardening Australia website. So this is another shovel head, which was as rusty as the one we just put in the vinegar bath. The next thing we need to do is sharpen the blade of the shovel. All right, so I'm just using a simple metal file here. It's a pretty coarse metal file, and I'm just doing long strokes along the shovel. When I'm using a file like this, it only cuts on the push, so there's no need to go back and forth like that. You just want nice, long, forward strokes. And when you're sharpening something like this, as you wear away the metal, you can push a little bit of that metal over the edge. So we want to remove that. One, to expose the cutting edge, but also just for safety, because it can be pretty sharp. So I'm just going to get a small round file and just drag it on the back edge to bring that burr up. Now I'm going to... Oh, that's a horrible sound. And you can see here, the burr is starting to fall off. Got a nice, clean, sharp cutting edge there. That's ready to dig. So first of all, you don't need to go out and buy a new handle necessarily, because these are still perfectly good. It's got a little bit of age on it, but if you give that a light sand, you'll expose this fresh timber and it'll look like brand new again. But you might not have a stash of handles like I do from a second-hand store. So you can go and buy one from the hardware store, just make sure it's from a sustainable source. I'm giving the handle a light sand, and sandpaper that's about 120 grit is perfect. All right, so now the best bit is putting the oil on. I'm putting on a little bit of boiled linseed oil mixed with terps. So the terps just thins it out a little bit. It's about a 50-50 mix and allows it to soak into the timber a little bit more. So I lather it on the tool and I'll leave that for about 15 minutes to soak in. So it's getting right down into the grain of the timber. Another oil you could use if you wanted to is something like tung oil. Linseed oil and tung oil are both hardening oils. You don't want to use a non-hardening oil, so like vegetable oil, because that'll go rancid in your handle. While I've got the oil out, I'm going to give the metal head a bit of a coat as well to protect it from rusting. Alrighty, now the oil's had a chance to soak in. I'm wiping off the excess with an old rag. And oily rags left in a pile can spontaneously combust, so I'm giving it a rinse and then hanging out to dry. So now we just need to fit the handle to the head. Now most of these handles that you'll get from the hardware store have just got a pretty straight top to them, and all of these shovels, particularly the old ones, have got a bit of a bend in them. So they might not always fit as snugly as you'd like. You can see kind of down here, we've got a little bit of a gap where the shovel meets. And we could just bash the hell out of it to get it in there, but I think it's better if we just remove a little bit of the timber from the top to get a bit more of a snug fit. Using a spoke shave, I'm removing the material where the handle is rubbing up against the metal. And another tool that comes in handy for the job is a chisel. And I'm making sure that when I use the chisel, or any of these cutting tools, anything with a sharp edge, that my hands are behind that cutting edge, because this is really sharp. I don't want to slip and cut myself as I'm using this. As I go, I'm checking how the handle and head are fitting together and shaping accordingly. Nice. All right, that's a good snug fit now. All right, so now last thing I'm going to do before we've got our awesome shovel finished is put a couple of screws where the rivets used to be. I'm going to drill some pilot holes. And it's important to drill pilot holes because we don't want to split the timber. I'm using galvanized screws to put these screws in, so they're going to be good for outdoor use. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. We've taken a tool, used to look like this, and turned it into something that you can use and potentially hand down to your grandkids. And if you want to keep your garden tools looking like this, just give them a clean after you use them, particularly if you're doing concreting, and rub a bit of oil into them once in a while. Now get out there and dig a hole and put a plant in it. Next time, I'll be showing you how to sharpen up your secateurs, every gardener's best mate.